You are now tuned into Two Drunk Sistas podcast, unscripted and uncensored. Grab yourselves a drink and enjoy.
Hey, hey, hey!
Hey guys, welcome to Two Drunk Sistas podcast. I'm D.
I'm W.
Thanks for tuning in to our latest episode.
Yes. Okay, so guys, we're drinking rum punch. I think we
Rum
started...
pum pum.
Pum pum. I think we started drinking this, I don't know.
I don't know when.
11. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. So guys, we are talking about Fright night.
So of course it's Fright Night 1, 2, and the new Fright Night with Colin Farrell.
Yep.
And what's the guy who passed away? I forgot his name. I forgot his name.
Goodness gracious, I was just Yalen. No, I could be wrong.
No, it's Youngchin.
Something Yunchin.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, we gotta get his name.
Yeah, so it starred with Anton Yelchin, and he passed away.
Yes. Rest in peace
for him.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in power. You know how we say it. Rest in power.
Yep.
You know, but we're here to discuss Fright Night, and it's all parts.
Right.
All parts of Fright Night.
Yes.
If you don't know what Fright Night is, it came out in 1985. It's about the teenage Charlie Brewster, who is a horror film junkie. So it's not surprised that when a reclusive new neighbor named Jerry Dandridge moved next door, Brewster becomes convinced he is a vampire. It's also no surprise when nobody believes him. However, after strange events begin to occur, Charlie has no choice but to turn to the only person who could possibly help, washed-up television vampire killer Peter Vincent.
And we got to cheers to the rum
Rum-pum-pum-pum. Cheers to the rum-pum-pum-pum and the drinks that you're drinking on.
Yes.
To us. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh.
All right.
So yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. So Fright Night. How old do you think we were when we saw Fright Night? Because it came out in 1985. So
maybe
we
like
had to be in the 90s.
Yeah, I had to be like maybe 10 years old.
Okay, so like in the 90s.
In the 90s,
We watched it.
Oh my gosh.
Even back then, it was good.
Yes.
So this movie, it has some Susan Sarandon. I don't know if that's her ex-husband or her husband.
I think it's her ex.
It's her ex.
Yeah.
Chris Sarandon. He did this role.
He really did.
He did this role.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah.
I like part 1 and the new Fright Night.
Yeah.
So we'll talk into it. So part 1 starts off with Charlie and his girlfriend Amy. You know, making out and stuff like that. And of course, Charlie's neighbor, he peeks out in the window and sees a couple of people dragging in a coffin into a basement or whatever. And that's what piqued Charlie's interest to being nosy on what was going on.
Yes.
So, of course, you know, you're a teenager, high school and stuff like that. You know, you go through...
You're a peeping Tom.
puberty and all that shite.
Yeah.
You know, his best friend, his name is Evil. Was that his best friend? I don't say his best friend.
Well,
maybe
like his one of the people that he
a close friend.
With. Yeah.
Yeah. So his close friend named Evil.
Evil.
And he had this weird laugh. You're so cool, Brewster. You know. So this movie is like.
It definitely is a cult classic.
It is a cult classic. You have to watch it to like really appreciate the horror movies that we're watching in 2020.
Yeah.
But just going through it, Charlie finds out that there's something going on next door. It kind of reminds me of The Burbs. Remember with the
If you guys don't know The Burbs, y'all asleep. That shit is funny.
I love The Burbs.
Me too.
We're gonna have to talk about that. I love The Burbs. But it reminded me of The Burbs when rewatching it again. And so, he gets, Charlie gets curious. Like, he's like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. I think in the news there was like saying that people were missing and stuff like that. And then, did he see somebody next door? Okay, so he was in his bedroom one night and he was looking out in the window and he saw a woman who was undressing herself.
Yep.
And he was like just looking, and then he saw
Jerry Dandridge.
Yeah, Jerry Dandridge take a bite out of crying.
Yes.
He took a bite, but when he was about to bite her, he looked up, and saw Charlie looking, and then he pulled down the
shade.
drapes.
Oh my God! And his fingernails.
His nails.
Oh God!
Yeah, I was like, man, he got some nice fingers.
Nice, long and creepy looking. Oh my God!
He got some nice fingers. So that freaked Charlie out. So for Charlie was like, yo, okay, there's definitely something happening. So he goes next door snooping around during the day. When did he find out that there was for sure?
I believe when he saw the news and saw that the same woman that he saw last night, the night before. And
right. Okay. So that led him to go to the police, and the police went over to the house and asking like, yo, well, so he says that you have a body here. He saw you take saw you take the body in a trash bag and put it in a car, and then the guy was like, I don't know, did you see that? So the cop, needless to say, the cop thought, because they're kids.
They're kids,
So
yeah.
it's like, all right, so you watching, right? You watching too much motherfucking horror movies, and so the cop was like, all right, we about to get out of here. Then after that, that's when then he told his friend and Amy about it, right?
Yes.
And then that's when they were like, this nigga's crazy. Because they're like, Charlie, you're crazy.
Like you're seeing shit.
Right.
You're making shit up. This is not, there's no such thing
as vampires.
Yeah.
Right. You're taking the show that he watched, which was called Fright Night. With Peter Vincent.
Who's a vampire killer.
Right. So they was like saying, all right, nigga, you watching too much of that and bringing it into reality.
So guys, in order, of course, we're jumping. So in order for Amy, the girlfriend, kind of wants to help out Charlie. So she calls Peter Vincent and she tells him like, look, something's weird. Just go over to this house and, let's just try to find out, Right. Oh, but before that, they make a phone call to...
Right. Well, before Charlie's girlfriend went to Peter Vincent. Well, she went to Peter Vincent and trying to tell him, hey, he really believes in this. Let's show him, or like fake it, making it seem like he's really not a vampire. And so that's when Evil called.
Yeah, Evil called.
Evil called and say, hey, we have a friend of ours who think you're a vampire, but let's just set up a meeting and act like we're giving you these things and stuff like that. How do you feel about crosses? How do you feel about holy water? And the guy was like, all right, just no crosses, because he's sacrilegious or some shit like that. He was like, no crosses and no holy water either. And he was like, it's gonna be, and Peter Vincent was like saying it's gonna be tap water. So all in all, the girlfriend paid Peter Vincent because Peter Vincent wasn't gonna go. He thought that they were like oh, we are jumping because originally, Charlie went to Peter on the set. He waited for him to be done, and Charlie told him the story, and Peter Vincent didn't believe him. And then that's when the friends went over to the house. So the girlfriend paid Peter Vincent because at the end of the day, he's an actor.
Right.
So she paid him. And then after that, they called the guy, and so they set up a meeting, and after they set up the meeting, they decided to meet with Charlie and Evil and all of them to meet at Jerry's house. And then when they got to Jerry's house, of course, they were looking around. They were seeing that, oh, okay, this is different. Because the decor was like ancient, old decor and stuff like that. And so, they're looking around and what would you say that guy was? Would you say he's a butler or a friend?
I just think he's someone that looks after the vampire.
While he sleeps.
House tendant.
Housemaid?
Houseman. Number one.
You are my number one. And I.
If you don't know where that's from, I can't help you.
So they went over there to the house and they was like, okay, well, we're here. And the guy was like, okay, well, Mr. Vincent, was nice meeting you. So how can I help you? And so he was like, well, Charlie thinks you're a vampire and stuff like that. So, I have this here holy water. So if you drink it, And if anything happens, if nothing happens, we'll apologize, whatever. So he takes a swig of that thing and nothing happens. So Charlie was like, this is some bullshit. Charlie like, this some bullshit. He pulls out the cross and the guy and Jerry steps back like, whoa, but Peter Vincent intervened and said, Charlie, don't be disrespectful. You saw it. He drank the holy water. That's it. We're leaving. Right. So while they were leaving, Mr. Vincent had a pocket mirror. And so while he took out the pocket mirror and he was looking at himself, he looked behind him and he didn't see the guy. He didn't see Jerry. So he kept on looking. He looked in the mirror.
No reflection.
He looked up. He looked in the mirror and he looked up. And he got scared and he dropped the compact. Broke the mirror, and he was like, okay, we gotta go.
First of all, they are not.
That nigga was scared.
So obvious.
Well,
they making it so obvious that he done found something out.
And Jerry was like, is there something wrong? He's like, no, nothing wrong. Sorry for your time. Sorry to bother you, whatever. We're okay, we gotta go. So after they left the house, Peter was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And Charlie was like, what's going on? Did you see something? Is there something that you want to tell us? And he was like, oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. Go home. He's like, no, it's something. Tell me. He was like, he didn't cast the reflection on my mirror. Okay, are you happy? That nigga drove off. He drove off. So while that was happening outside, and back in the manor, inside the house, Jerry was walking in the house and he stepped on the piece of mirror or piece of glass that was from Peter Vincent's compact mirror. And then that's when he realized, oh, the jig is up. They know that I'm a vampire. So now this is starting the hunt. The hunt is on. So after that, Charlie, Evil, and Amy go up. Well, Charlie and Evil takes Amy home. They walk home. And of course, they all separated. The vampire end up getting Evil. Then the vampire starts chasing Charlie, and Amy goes into this scene. So this scene, I like this scene of seduction between Jerry and Amy. That little dance. Okay, so I want to preference that this is straight up pedophilia. Because listen, okay, if y'all remember that scene, how he was like grinding on her, and I'm like, okay, so this old ass man, he's at least over 1,000 years old. This old ass man fondling this high school chick. So just rewatching is like, nigga, you nasty.
You're right.
Like touching her and all that stuff. So she was underage. She was definitely a minor. Yes. Okay, so I just want to preference that.
Yep.
I like how the back and forth.
Okay.
Of like how he was seducing her. And then that's when Charlie saw what was happening, and that's when he was able to get Amy back to the lair and seduce her some more. Right.
And I think Charlie went back to, did he go back to Mr. Vincent's house at that time? Mr. Vincent, no. after the whole thing at Dandridge's house, Mr. Vincent goes back to...
He goes back home because he was packing.
Right, but at which point does he go to Charlie's?
He didn't go to Charlie. Charlie went to him, and he saw that he was packing his stuff, and he was like, hey, Jerry said that if I don't go back to the house at this time, he's going to kill Amy. So then after that, I think Charlie begged Peter to stay and to help. So they went ahead and was like, okay, if we're going to go do this, we're going to go to war. So he gathered all the instruments, the cross, holy water, stakes, and stuff like that. And they all went to Jerry's house. And at this point, Jerry's waiting for them.
That's right. And they were going to go to the back. And then Jerry, with the door open, and he's like, well, might as well go to the front door. We already know that we're here.
Right. So they went inside. And that's when Jerry came out, and they did the tango, the mambo, like your dick is bigger than my dick,
right?
And then, of course, he was asking where Amy was, and
he's like, "Oh yeah, she's waiting for you."
Right. So you're gonna have to go past. Past me to get to her.
Right.
But this film, it just had so many. I want to say good sayings. You know,
is that when he had said the whole?
Yeah, because he knew that Peter Vincent was on that show Fright Night. So when they went into the house, he was like, "Welcome to Fright Night," and then he steps down the stairs. For real. He like, "Bitch, this is the real Fright Night, not the movie deal Fright Night." Okay. So then what happened after that? Then they were able to get past him.
Oh, so Peter showed the cross and it wasn't working. That's when Charlie came in, and that's when
the Mr. Number One guy came. And then so they shot his ass 80,000 times. And when that happened, they thought that that he was dead. But then that's when Jerry was like, "If that's what you think." And so he came back, and so they had to finish Mr. Number One off. Mm-hmm. After they finished Mr. Number One off, Charlie went to where Amy was. And then that's when Jerry locked Charlie with Amy.
Yeah.
So because by this time Amy had turned. She's a vampire, so she needs to feed. So he locked her up in there. And then Mr. Vincent was fighting with Jerry, which is fucking hilarious. You have to go watch it to see this. The expression on Peter Vincent's face is just his expression alone needs an Oscar.
Oh my god,
it needs an Oscar. He had the night sweats, the sweats, and he had everything, tears, everything. So while he was fighting with Jerry, he hauled ass. He left. He was like, "Fuck this shit," and then he went to warn he went to go warn Charlie's mom, and because his best friend, I keep saying best friend, that's not his best friend, his friend Evil turned to a vampire, and he wind up next door at Charlie's house, because I think he was going to kill the mom, but the mom worked late. And then that's when he met up with him. Mr. Vincent ended up killing Evil because he had a cross or whatever and staked him. And while he was dying, Mr. Vincent felt sorry because, at the end of the day, he was a kid.
Right.
So he died. Mr. Vincent grabbed his balls.
Yes.
Well, not
Evil's balls, but his own balls.
And say, "You know what? I'm Mr. Vincent,
the vampire killer.
I'm Mr. motherfucking Peter Vincent. Peter motherfucking Vincent." The vampire killer. So he goes back and tries to rescue Charlie. And then after that happened, he meets up with Jerry wasn't there. He meets up with Charlie, and then Charlie found out that Amy is a vampire.
She's transitioning.
She's transitioning. Right. So now they're looking for Jerry, and he's out there calling on Amy. No, he was like, "Wake up.
That shit was hilarious.
Amy." and then she would hear it, and then passes out.
Did he say, "Don't you love me?" Or
no? I think he says, "I command you to wake up." He's like, "If you love me," she's like, "Oh," and she passes out.
That shit was hilarious.
So then, moving to I want to say the best part of the movie is the fight at the end when he fights Jerry and fights Amy, but Charlie still loves Amy, so of course he doesn't want to kill her,
right?
So he protects her while they're fighting with Jerry. And to end it, they were fighting, and it was already daylight, and so they broke all the glasses, and he was just making those noises.
Oh my God.
The sunlight was hitting his skin.
Those noises are fucking funny.
This shit was fucking hilarious. Sorry. So he ended up killing Jerry, and all is well in Whoville. And so after that, Charlie ended up Charlie and Peter Vincent end up saving Amy, and everything goes back to normal. Peter goes back to being on his show called Fright Night, and he kind of like hinted to Charlie, like, you know, things are real and stuff like that, or like gave him a shout out. It was a shout out. He gave him a shout out on the show. And when Charlie and Amy was in the bedroom watching the shout out from Peter Vincent, Charlie looked over next door and he saw two red eyes. And then he thought he saw something, and he wasn't sure. And then after the movie ended, you see the two red eyes, and you hear the friend Evil laughing. So I don't know if Evil survived or somebody else found out what happened and is stalking Charlie. So that pushes on to part 2. Now part 2, I didn't even know that part 2 existed.
I knew it existed. I did not watch it. Or I might have watched it and not really cared for it because I was so stuck on part 1. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
So part two basically was about a couple of years later. Charlie grows up. It's only been 3 years. It's only been 3 years from what they were from the incident that happened. So he's seeing the psychiatrist, and of course the psychiatrist was telling him, you know, there's no such thing as vampires, you know, you're suppressing yourself, your girlfriend got caught up in a cult and she got kidnapped, and the guy ended up dying, and you were able to save them, but you have to suppress you're like, in order for you to get over not the fears, but to get over the things that happened to you, you made up this vampire story. So that is how part 2 started. Part 2 started of Charlie coming from the psychiatrist's office. I didn't know they was going to use him again.
I'm glad they did.
Charlie had a new girlfriend. Her name was Alex. And of course, Alex, she want to support Charlie. You know, all the stuff that's happening, saying like, listen, you know, I want to support you. I think she was like a psychologist, like a clinical psychologist. Yeah, psych major. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, she wanted to help Charlie. So of course, Charlie he would see something and he would think like, okay, this is not happening again. He thinks like it's happening again because he sees, you know, he looks out in the window and he sees coffins coming in. Okay, so I guess his psychologist was telling him, if you want to like bury the past, you need to talk to Peter Vincent and let him know that you've moved on with the situation and this is not what happened. So he went to go see Peter Vincent, and while him and his girlfriend went to go see Peter, and while they were there seeing him, you know, they were reminiscing and drinking about what happened in part 1. So then that's when that led Charlie looking out, because I guess Peter Vincent was staying in this apartment. Like, it's like a nice regal apartment complex. And when Charlie looked out in the window, he sees people carrying coffins inside. And so that, you know, the 80 music came back and all the memories triggered back. Like, this is how it started. So he would have to convince himself, like, okay, bitch, this is not happening again.
Right.
This is not happening again. So it's pretty much, part 2 is pretty much the same story, but instead of Charlie's new girlfriend, Alex, getting seduced, Charlie gets seduced. And this time, this story is about the sister of Jerry Dandridge. Mm-hmm. So she came back for revenge to get Peter Vincent and Charlie.
Yeah.
So, did you like this one? Did you like this part 2?
It was okay. It wasn't bad. Mm-hmm. I did like the fact that she came back. The sister went to find them so that she could, you know, get revenge for her brother's death. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So, and just her whole way of getting Charlie little by little, coming to him at night when he's sleeping, mm-hmm. and feeding on him slowly, mm-hmm. and he's changing. So that was pretty cool. I like that part. Mm-hmm. I couldn't stand her minions though, but.
So let's talk about the minions. So it was this guy who, I guess he was androgynous, because you could tell he's a guy, but he dressed like a woman.
Right.
He reminded me of Michael, like Michael Jackson. Michael listen. Michael! Like that, like Thriller Michael. That Michael. He reminded me of him. And then there are other. Then there was these other two characters. I guess one of them was a vampire. He was a vampire wolf.
I don't know what the fuck he was.
I don't know.
He was a Wendigo.
I don't know what he was, but he was weird. And then the bodyguard or the driver was just eating creatures and bugs. He was eating bugs.
He was a bug man.
So W was like saying that when he died, W was saying like, oh, he had to eat the bugs to stay alive because when he died and all the bugs that he ingested came out of him, but his body turned old.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that was cute. They were cute.
So he needed that.
You know, part two for me, it really didn't have enough, not jump scares, but it just didn't. I felt like it was rushed. It was written fast because everything was happening fast.
Yeah,
like
they got to the point really quick.
It got to the point really quick. She found Charlie, seduced Charlie, almost turned him into a vampire.
Yes.
And basically, she wanted him to be a vampire so she could torture him for eternity until she's done with him. You know, so once that happened, you know, Charlie's girlfriend, Alex, didn't believe him until they encountered that Wendigo.
The Wendigo looking
vampire
whatever he is. Yes.
And that's when she believed him. So Charlie's girlfriend acted like Charlie in part one.
Yeah.
Right? You would say that?
Yeah.
So, you know, so that's that story. Now they did a remake. So at first, I thought it was a continuation, which would have been good. I would have been okay with that. But this time it was a remake. Yeah. It was a remake. And at first when I heard that they were doing the Fright Night remake, I wasn't too excited about it. Because, you know, it's like Colin Farrell. I'm like, Colin Farrell? Really?
Yeah, I don't even like Colin Farrell like that. But
yeah, you know, and they had other great characters too, you know, in it. But I wasn't too... I was like, oh, Colin Farrell? Okay, let's roll with it. But it ended up being pretty good.
Yes, I actually liked all the special effects and stuff.
Yeah, it ended up pretty good. Of course, they had to change the story because this Charlie, yes, he was in high school and he still had the friend Evil, but Charlie was staying in like this suburban area in Nevada.
Right.
Like almost, yeah, in Nevada. And so Peter Vincent was a performer, almost like a Chris Angel type of person.
Right.
Which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah. But then on top of that, he, even though he was a performer, he's also like
a collector.
And I would say an occultist fan. Not occultist fan, but a occultist collector. Yeah. Because he knew about vampires and all these other dark stuff. Yeah. You know, so that's why he is who he is, Peter Vincent. Mm-hmm. And his show was called Fright Night. Right. So I like the way they changed it and kept
they put a new spin on it.
Right. They kept some originality to it, which was pretty good.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I like the special effects of the vampire. And Colin Farrell in this did pretty well.
Yeah, because I don't like Colin Farrell, but I actually liked him in this one. I actually did.
He did a good job in this one.
Yeah.
I feel like it's basically the same story as part one. Like, you know, Charlie finds out about his neighbor, but instead of Charlie finding out about his neighbor, it's his friend that he grew up with found out about his neighbor and it was telling Charlie like, yo, your neighbor's a vampire. And Charlie was the one that like, you're crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, this is not true and stuff like that. So I kind of like the twist that they did for that. Yeah. And then, of course,
the whole Amy thing, the girlfriend,
right, the whole Amy being seduced and stuff like that. So it's basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing, different characters and different environment. Yeah. I definitely like the original Fright Night, which is the best. But the new Fright Night did a good job. Well.
I think if they didn't have the guy who did the old one, it probably wouldn't have been as well. I don't know. I'm just saying it probably wouldn't have been as good, or we probably wouldn't have liked it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm glad that they got Jerry Dandridge from the old one to play
a bystander.
He was he appeared. He did a cameo in the new one.
Right. So I like. So they did like the They paid homage.
Right.
Fright
you
Night.
You can't
have the Fright Night without your boy Jerry.
Right. It's like you gotta have the original. It's like saying,
and he still look good.
Right. It's like saying the whole Jack Nicholson Joker not paying homage, even though Jack Nicholson wasn't in any of the Batman after the one he played. But still, he
made the Joker.
Right.
Yeah.
So
y'all, that is the Fright Night trilogy. Well, it's not a trilogy, but it's part 1, part 2, and the remake. But
yeah, there is another one, guys. If you guys look it up, you'll see like the Fright Night, the first one. You'll see the second one. You'll see the new one, and there is another one where I forgot what year it came out. Where
it was like 2011. No.
Oh, 2011. Okay.
Or I don't know what year, but it says Fright Night Part 2, but I was like, well, so where's the Part 1?
Yeah, I don't know where that one fit in, but just in case you guys are looking and you're trying to figure out like which one are we talking about. We're not talking about the one where it's not Jerry Dangerous' sister. This is another woman. I don't know the backstory to that one in particular, but you guys might see that there are several There's 2 Fright Night Part 2. The one we're talking about is the one with Jerry Dangerous' sister.
Right, comes for revenge.
Right. The other one is directed by who? Oh, Tommy Lee Wallace.
So
no,
that's the one that we watched.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's from Tommy Lee Wallace.
Okay.
But the other one, I don't know. The other one was definitely not an 80s.
It was in the 80s film.
If you want to watch Fright Night Part 1 and Fright Night Part 2,
yes,
make sure that it's the 80s.
It's the 80s, yeah.
Anything else, Fright Night in the 2000, that's a whole different one. Except for the remake
with Colin Farrell.
That one is the remake, and that's the one that we reviewed.
Yes. So just to kind of help y'all, because you're going to be like, oh my God, if you guys are looking, if you're like us and you're Googling everything, you'll see like, wait a minute, there's like 2 Fright Nights. So which one are we talking about? So we're talking about the 80s Fright Night and the new remake with Colin. Right,
which came out in 2011. Oh, I think the Part 2 Fright Night is called New Blood.
Oh, okay.
That's what that's called. Fright Night 2, New Blood.
So where's the old blood?
Right, I don't... But it's still the Fright Night story, but it's
set in Romania.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So, and that one came out in 2013. So that came out after the Colin Farrell one.
Oh, interesting.
Right. So I'm thinking
is that
this is from the second from Colin Farrell. This is from the Colin Farrell one.
Okay, guys. So
y'all got some homework.
Yeah. This is from the Colin Farrell because we did not include that in our review.
Yeah, we didn't. But I want to check it out though.
Yeah, I actually want to see what the hell is going on.
It's on Hulu, y'all. So y'all go ahead and watch it. Go ahead and watch that Hulu one.
Yes.
But I don't know because it says horror comedy.
Well, and that was all of their genres.
That's true. You know what, guys? We're gonna talk about Fright Night 2, New Blood on the next one.
Yes.
So y'all go watch it, come back, and sip on some drinks.
Yep.
If you have any other movies that you want us to review, sci-fi, horror, what else?
Supernatural.
Hit us up on our Gmail at twodrunksisters@gmail.com. I said the number drunk.
Number drunk at Gmail.
The number 2 drunk DRUNK sisters SISTAS@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at twodrunksisters.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Listening. That is the end. That is the end, baby. That is the end. Shit.
Welcome to Fright Night.
That's it, y'all. Wash your
be
hands.
easy.
The pandemic is still out there. Yes. Wear your mask.
Rona's still here, y'all. I know.
Okay, listen. We rolling in the fall, and it's getting cold, and this is the time when viruses love to incubate in people. So with that being said, wash your hands.
Y'all drink your fire cider. All right,
and wear your mask.
Wear your mask. All right, y'all.
Have a good night, day, evening. Okay, bye.